From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, I'm Wawodo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa restates the commitment of the armed forces to secure the nation during a visit to troops in southern Kaduna. Troops of the Multinational Joint Task Force intercept a suspected terrorist conveying improvised explosive device IED making materials in Borno State. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetoku visits Enugu State, vows decisive response to attacks on officers and men of the police. And South Korea's month-long political crisis records another day of drama, with police failing to arrest suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol after a 6-hour standoff.
On business news tonight, federal government's deficit spending soars to 12.1 trillion naira within 10 months last year amid rising debts pressure, according to latest data from the central bank.
On sports, Novak Djokovic hunts for a landmark 100 ATP trophy, ends with defeat by big serving American Relio Pelka in the Brisbane International.
And from the nation's capital, Central Bank of Nigeria says 1,000 staff members disengaged in December 2024 were not forced to quit the bank. Tonight with security, and the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has restated the commitment of the Nigerian Armed Forces to ensuring that the nation is secured by getting rid of criminal elements causing security breaches across the country. General Musa gave this commitment after the visit to the military cantonments in Samaru Zagon Kataf, local government area of Kaduna State, where the military has provided equipment for the base to tackle insecurity challenges in southern Kaduna. The defense chief also commended the troops for their professionalism and sacrifice in safeguarding the country.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, in the company of senior officers from the Defense Headquarters, alongside the General Officer commanding 3 Division, are visiting the military operational base in Samaru Zangon Kataf local government area in southern Kaduna. The delegation is at the cantonment to inspect the newly acquired equipment to support troops in the area. General Musa charged troops to remain steadfast and professional in their conduct of safeguarding the country and respect for human rights while discharging their duties.
I want to make sure that this year we achieve over 70-80% this year, so that the troops too will be very comfortable. You can see from the spirit that they are really very high spirit, and that's what we want. We have seen their challenges and we're going to address them. I want to thank Mr. President for the support he's given us. He has promised us everything we require we'll get, and you can see that we're getting. You can see the new APCs we're getting. There are more gun trucks coming in, more MRAPs, more motorcycles, more trucks. The welfare of the troops have been taken care of very well, so nobody has any complaint. It's just for us to do our job.
Charging the troops for effective performance, the commander of the Operation Safe Haven, Major General Abdul Salam Abubakar, enjoined them not to relent in the course of securing their area of operation.
How is the Bara? Good to go! Good to go! Good to go, sir! Our terrain here, some of these places, you cannot enter them with gun trucks. So motorcycles are very key. Also, we'll be getting night vision goggles to enhance our night fighting capability. So we have no reason, we have no excuse not to deliver.
The senator representing the district, Senator Sunday Marshall, appreciates the efforts of the military and promises improved collaboration between the civilian populace and the military.
We and the military are one and the same. We working for the same purpose. And within a short period of time, I believe that things are going to stabilize and development will come our way, because without peace, there can be development.
The Chief of Defense Staff and his entourage also visited the palace of the Chief of Kagoro, a courtesy call on the paramount ruler, where he reaffirmed the military's commitment to fostering unity and security in the region.
And still on security, Governor Nasir Idris of Kebbi State says that there are no established bandit camps within the state. Governor Idris, who made this disclosure while addressing journalists after a closed-door security meeting at the Government House, says that most of the bandits operating in the state infiltrate them from neighboring states.
Based on the importance we attach to security, that is why you see today is second. And we find it very necessary to also that we prepare against the 2025. The security agencies have done well in 2024, and I asked them to also do better in 2025. We don't have a camp of bandits in Kebbi State. But because we share border with some states like Niger State, Zamfara State and Sokoto State, that is why we have infiltration of bandits in about 2-3 local governments we have in Kebbi State. So we have acquired additional babe, and even the vigilante, we have promised to procure additional 1,000 motorcycles for the vigilante, because there is no way the other security agencies can work without a vigilante.
And in Borno State, the suspected terrorist courier conveying suspected improvised explosive device making materials has been intercepted at Gubio local government area by the troops of the Multinational Joint Task Force operating under Sector 3 in Mongunu in collaboration with the Civilian Joint Task Force. According to a statement by the MNJTF's Chief Military Information Officer, Lieutenant Colonel Alani Yoshoba, the 28-year-old suspect, identified as Mukhtar Alhaji Chari, is said to have confessed to transporting the materials to Damasak town in Mobar local government area of Borno State for a planned attack on the MNJTF troops. The intercepted materials include 4 empty 12 kg cylinders, 1 empty 6 kg cylinder, 2 carburetor gas canisters, 2 pressure regulators, and a hose. The force commander of the MNJTF, Major General Ibrahim Ali, while commending the troops and CJTF for their vigilance and professionalism, reiterated MNJTF's resolve to combat terrorism and ensure the safety and security of the region. In the meantime, the Inspector General of Police has assured the Enugu State Governor and the people of the state of its commitment to ensure the police vision more vigorously this year, 2025. He spoke at the courtesy call on the governor ahead of President Bola Tinubu's visit to Enugu State on Saturday. The IGP also thanked the state governor for his support, assuring that he will prioritize professionalism and emphasize ethical conduct of his officers. Governor Peter Mba, on his part, assured the police boss that the state government will continue to support the police in ensuring efficiency in the discharge of its duties.
The collaboration between the Nigerian police and the Enugu State government has continued to yield excellent results, and we are determined to build on this success. In this year, 2025, Your Excellency, I want to let you know that we are committed to pursuing our policing vision more vigorously. We will prioritize community engagement, we will prioritize professionalism, and emphasize ethical conduct of our officers. I'm very confident that with your support, Your Excellency, we are going to overcome all the challenges that we are facing presently and ensure that Nigeria becomes a safer country for all of us.
The minimum you would do is to provide security, because businesses, as I've often said, do not have the capacity to absorb security risk. Businesses can deal with finance risk, they can deal with commercial risk, but not security. And which is why we felt that for that growth to materialize, we need to provide security. And there is no way we could have done it without your support. You have been a very strong pillar of support to the government. I recall when you assumed office, we had a meeting, we had extensive meeting about how to address the security challenges in Enugu. And without sparing any effort, any time, you provided us with all the support, ensured that we had the special forces here, provided us with the equipment we needed. So we cannot thank you enough for the interest you have shown and you continue to show in the security matters of Enugu.
Meanwhile, the IGP earlier had a meeting with officers of the force where he assured them that the federal government will prioritize their welfare and fight as a united force to stamp out insecurity in the country and deal decisively with the enemies of the force who target and kill police officers.
We will not tolerate any assault on our police officers. Not to talk of killing. An assault on a policeman is criminal. It's an assault on the IG. And we are not going to take kindly to any act of assault on our officers. Not talk of killing any of our officers. Anywhere there is killing of any policeman, you must all respond collectively and appropriately. There must be appropriate response from us. Where a policeman is assaulted, there must be appropriate response to it. We will not tolerate it anymore. In this year 2025, we are going to say no to assault on our officers. We are going to say no, capital no, to killing of any of our men.
Over to Benue State, where the police say the 3 suspected kidnappers have been killed in a gun battle during the rescue operation of a kidnapped victim, Mr. Emmanuel Toyaji, who was abducted from a Vadinke local government area of the state. The Commissioner of Police, Mr. Steve Yabanet, disclosed this to journalists after parading 3 other alleged accomplices with 2 AK-47 rifles and 3 loaded ammunition.
On the 30th of December 2024, at about 20:30 hours, there was information that was received that one Emmanuel Toyachi, the President General of Vandekia Thief Community, was sitting out. We traveled home for Christmas break, the New Year break, and was sitting out together with some of his friends. They are relaxing in a place, and some men in a vehicle, in a commando style, arrived there and then kidnapped the President General of the Vandekia community. So immediately the information was received and of the incident, we contacted all the neighboring divisions and told them to be at alert. And through intelligence, that was a good Samaritan connected the DPU and said, I'm suspecting a foul play. This information that was going on, that somebody has been kidnapped, somebody has come here to buy food. So we trailed him, we moved our surveillance team to trail him, and he was arrested. And after interrogation, he led us. This thing I'm talking within a GP, all this thing happened within 20, 40 minutes. No ransom was paid. I want to appreciate the good people of that area. That is quite the local government. They timely came out and gave information to police that led to they have seen some of the kidnappers moving towards looking for an exit route. So we pursued them. Our men pursued them again in collaboration with the local security agencies. They were pursued and they were neutralized.
In part 2, after the break, President Bola Tinubu visits Oba of Lagos as he attends Jumat service in Lagos. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa restates the commitments of the armed forces to securing the nation during a visit to troops in southern Kaduna. Troops of the Multinational Joint Task Force intercept a suspected terrorist conveying improvised explosive device-making materials in Borno State. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun visits Enugu State, vows decisive response to attacks on officers and men of the police. And South Korea's month-long political crisis records another day of drama, with police failing to arrest suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol after a 6-hour standoff. Youth Coalition for Peace and Political Development and the Northern Elders Progressive Group have condemned the recent allegation that Nigeria is conniving with France to destabilize Niger Republic. The groups made this disclosure at the media briefing in Kaduna. They also note that such allegations can overheat the polity between both countries. The groups are now asking the Nigerian president to tender an immediate apology to Nigeria and stop creating the tension of disunity between the two nations. We have more for you on the news at 10. Let's head over to Abuja studios now, where Gloria Mezoke is standing by to give us more. Hello, Gloria.
Many thanks, Anne. We turn our attention now to the Central Bank of Nigeria debunking allegations of mass sacking of staff of the organization. The deputy governor in charge of corporate services at the bank, Mr. Bala Mohammed, who appeared before an ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives over the allegations, revealed that the exercise was a voluntary arrangement that saw members of staff who were discouraged by lack of career progression for different reasons decide to exit the system and be paid off. Mr. Bello says although the arrangement aligned with the strategic objectives of the bank, which aimed to ensure that staff manpower did not exceed corporate objectives, all who left did so voluntarily.
So nobody has been asked to leave, but people were based on popular demand. I want to be humble with a lot of humility to tell you that this same program that is taking place is not at the instance of the bank itself. It's actually, of course, we have our own challenges and we know where we want to take the bank to. That's Cardoso and his team, myself inclusive. But this popular request actually came from the staff. In the past, you have had instances in which cases of stagnation and lack of career progression appears. I mean, in an organization, you've got a pyramid where from each level to the next level, you know, the gap keeps narrowing. If not, you are going to have like a Kwashiorkor organization, inverted pyramid. It doesn't work. There are several instances in which similar exercise took place in the central bank, which has happened severally. This is not the first time, it's not the second time, it's not the third time, severally. You've had instances in which people at the top request that, look, it's going to take me X number of years to actually aspire to become a director in an organization. But right now there's no vacancy, and the person sitting next to me probably has 8 years to go. Meanwhile, I have 7, so there's no career growth, and a lot of opportunities are out there. For example, among the people that have left, there are like 3 or 4 people who are going to set up a bank. The approaches we told them, look, literally anything you want to do, if you need the support of the central bank, you are done. So the popular demand then was at the top. People that are stagnated, people that don't have any career progression any longer, they have reached their peak and they are willing to go and take other risks before they get to an age where they become scared to take risks.
The acting national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Mr. Umar Damagum, has declared that no amount of threat or intimidation will prevent the party from expressing its stance on national issues. Mr. Damagum made the remark while supporting recent statements made by the governor, Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, on the dangers of tax reform bills. He emphasizes that Governor Mohammed's position aligns with the party's official view on the matter.
Chairman of the Governors Forum have reiterated that whatever he says as regards to the position in the country is aligning with the position of the party. And we are in full support of his comment And that is the comment of the party. That is the position of the party at every forum. And no amount of threat or intimidation will stop us from stating our position. Everybody knows what is happening in this country.
For now, our hands are still on deck, fully ready to work for our people. It is not yet election time. It is not a time for politics. It is time still to work for the people because we still enjoy the benefit of their mandate. So I don't think it is the right time to now be speaking about politics. But if you ask me what I'll be doing for my people, I think I still have a lot on my program, a lot on the shelf to ensure that I deliver properly what I have promised them and even surpassed at some level so that our states are developed economically, infrastructure-wise, and compete among Committee of States.
The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, is calling on Nigerians to embrace unity to enable the country surmount its challenges. He made the call during his one-day visit to Nasarawa State. During the visit, the Vice President performed 4 different functions, including the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of the Nasarawa Investment One-Stop Center and multi-door courthouse. Our correspondent, Halima Gayam, reports.
Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State leads stakeholders to receive Vice President Kashim Shettima, who is visiting Lafia, the Nasarawa State capital, on a one-day working visit. 4 engagements have been lined up for the nation's second citizen during the visit. The first is the groundbreaking for the construction of the Nasarawa One-Stop Investment Center and the multi-door courthouse, a hub for investment facilitation and business dispute resolution supported by the World Bank under the State Action on Business Enabling Reforms (SEBA) program. The second is the presentation of relief materials to victims of flood from 5 local government areas of the state. The intervention is enabled by the 3 billion naira fund given to affected states by the federal government. He also flagged off the distribution of tractors and rice seedlings to farmers across the local governments of the state, an initiative of the state government aimed at increasing rice production as well as agricultural value chain. The Vice President also visits the Nasarawa State Rice Pyramid site, which bags the rice cultivated from the state government Jangwa rice farm. The final engagement for the day is the graduation ceremony of over 1,000 persons selected from across the country from the State Vocational and Technical Institute. He calls for unity.
States like Nasarawa, in some areas you don't even need to use fertilizer. The soil is rich. Not only in terms of mineral resources, go to Kiana, we have huge deposits of oil and gas. Let us unite as a people to face our common challenges of underdevelopment and destitution.
Bishop Matthew Kuka of the Sokoto Diocese, who is in the state for the ceremony, commends the initiative.
The fact that these young men and women will acquire skills that can take them to all the ends of Nigeria and hopefully other parts of the world is a great testament.
With consideration for the Almajiris, Governor Sule hints of the state's plan for expansion of the Institute for Youth Empowerment.
Among the students here who are graduating today, we have Almajiris who we pick from the streets. We don't know their state. We don't know their parents. We don't know where they come from. But as far as we are concerned, we have trained them, we have given them skills, and we are going to give them starter packs so that they will no longer be Almajiris.
The engagements facilitated by the Vice President are geared towards creating a favorable business environment, increase food production and availability, empower youth, and provide support for victims of flood as the state government restates its commitment to improving the state economy, food security, and the social well-being of the people. Halima Gayam, Channels Television News.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has taken a swipe at the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, for allegedly describing elder statesmen supporting him as nobody. He made this remark while addressing stakeholders at the New Year luncheon he hosted for his supporters today in Port Harcourt, the River State capital. Our correspondent, Deborah Agbalama, reports.
It is the second edition of the now yearly New Year luncheon, with stakeholders from within and outside the state gathering to celebrate the new year with the FCT minister. With music, dance and comedy, the crowd enjoys a lively and entertaining atmosphere. After the fun and festivities, one by one, stakeholders take the stage to shower encomiums on the FCT minister over his contributions in River State and beyond.
We are happy and proud that you have performed very well in any position of trust that you have held. As I say, Chairman local government, two-term governor of River State, and now the minister of the Federal Capital Territory.
Guests from neighboring states joined the celebration, assuring the minister of their support in his political battle in the state.
I am not an opportunist. I like to make friends, and I understand in life that tough times, but as they say, tough times don't last, but tough people do. Anybody who is close to President Tinubu knows that he's a very critical mind. So when he says, for 3 words, Wike is a good man. Simple. He is a good man.
Before you'll be going to Apo, you'll be looking for a road. How do you get to Apo? Because one bridge that's supposed to link you to Apo is not there. It's not connected. Overnight, this man came to transform Abuja.
Yes, on Wike today, as far as I'm concerned, and speaking politically, is a man that this country cannot do without. We have decided to be John the Baptist. We have decided to act in the name of Nostradamus as the man who saw tomorrow, to say that we are following you, and the sky cannot be your limit, that it will be your stepping stone.
Mounting the podium, the FCT minister criticizes former Governor Peter Odili and other stakeholders backing Governor Sim Fubara. He also condemns an alleged disparaging remarks by Governor Siminalayi Fubara on the elder statesmen supporting him against the governor.
You said somebody's converting River State to his personal estate. And we have now come to show statistics is not correct. The man who's converting River State to a personal estate is you. This one is you. This one is you. And then to crown it all, you are not the general overseer.
In attendance at the event were the 27 members of the River State House of Assembly, led by Martin Samehule, former and current federal lawmakers, and other dignitaries. Deborah Balama, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10. Federal government's deficit spending soars to 12.1 trillion naira within 10 months last year amid rising debt pressure, according to latest data from the central bank. Please join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television. Now, Governor Omari Fintiri of Adamawa State has warned contractors handling state projects that any contractor who defaults in executing his projects will face the consequences of his actions. The governor gave this warning while inspecting some ongoing projects in the state. He also promised persistent monitoring to ensure quality delivery, emphasizing the need to deliver some of the projects as at when due.
Governor Umar Rufin-Tiri of Adamawa State is embarking on an unscheduled inspection tour of some of the projects in Yola South and Lamrode local government areas of the state. His first port of call is the Yola market, recently destroyed by fire, where he issued a stern warning to the contractors, urging them to complete the work within the stipulated time frame.
He's made a lot of appreciable progress from where we met him the last time, and we wouldn't say automatically now that we can go ahead and revoke the job. We'll still give him some benefit of doubt to see if he go on this pace for another 30 days, he will be able to meet some of the requirement to complete the work. So I will not spare anybody, I will not spare any contractor, because I'm not lacking in meeting with my obligation of payment.
The market serves as a commercial hub for Yola South local government area and is the second biggest market in the state. The governor then proceeds to Lamrode, the headquarters of Lamrode local government area of the state, where he inspects the ongoing model primary and junior secondary school projects.
Because we intend to deliver this school at worst across all the 21 local government by the end of March, April, so that we'll go into furnishing them for admission to start in September.
The governor also promised persistent monitoring of the projects to ensure a quality job and timely delivery before the next rainy season.
Well, that's it from the nation's capital. For more on the news at 10, it's back to Anne in Lagos.
Thank you, Gloria. President Bola Tinubu today visited the Oba of Lagos, His Majesty Rilwan Babatunde Akiolu, to pay homage to the monarch. The president was accompanied on the private visit by his chief of staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, the chairman of Boa Group, Abdulsamad Rabiu, and other aides of the president. Earlier, the president had stopped at the Lagos Central Mosque in Lagos Island for Jumat prayer. The chief imam, Lagos Central Mosque, Sulaiman Abu Nola, admonished the congregation on justice and fairness in their everyday dealing. He also led the special prayer for the president and prosperity for Nigeria. Governor Omar Namadi of Jigawa State and Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano State have signed a 2025 budget for their states. While Governor Namadi signed 698 billion naira, Governor Yusuf signed 719 billion naira. These are the highest for each of the states. The governors are focusing on infrastructure, education, and healthcare. Our correspondent Sadiq Ilyasu reports.
Members of the Jigawa State House of Assembly deliberate on the 2025 appropriation bill presented by Governor Umar Namadi. The House prioritized the bill, pledging to expedite its passage, a commitment emphasized by the Speaker of the House.
That's why you do not see any changes. It's just a minor adjustment, maybe from this court to another court. But at the entirety of the budget, our members of the Assembly, they did it the same together with His Excellency and the ministries.
24 hours after considering and passing the bill, the lawmakers convened at the Government House to present the bill for signing. Signing the state's largest ever budget, the governor calls for cooperation to ensure full implementation, stressing the importance of transparency and accountability.
And I want to call all of you, to everybody, to work assiduously to ensure the execution of this budget. This budget was carefully crafted and is very, very clear. We have a clear objective and we have a clear roadmap. What we have in the budget, we were very clear on our revenue and expenditure.
Meanwhile, in Kano, Governor Abba Yusuf met with the leadership of the State Assembly, led by Speaker Jibril Falgore, to finalize state's 2025 budget.
As we gather here to witness the signing of 2025 appropriation bill into law, which His Excellency Executive Direction tagged Budget of Hope, Human Capital and Economic Development, I am filled with the optimism that the 2025 budget will be implemented with a good degree of success.
Governor Yusuf assured citizens that the budget will prioritize critical sectors to drive progress and uplift living standards across the state.
After the revision by the Kano State House of Assembly, we now have an aggregated financing in the sum of 719 billion 755 million 417,663 naira.
The signing of these unprecedented budgets is considered a bold step towards transforming both states and fostering long-term economic growth. Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
Let's have more business stories. It's Dominic Iwewe standing by to give us more on the news at 10.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Anne. On business news, the federal government's deficit spending rose sharply by 28% year-on-year to 12.1 trillion naira in the first 10 months of 2024. And this is according to latest data from the central bank's monthly economic reports for October 2024. The figure marks a significant jump from the 9.8 trillion naira deficit recorded within the same period in 2023. However, despite the growth in deficit spending, the federal government experienced a 36% year-on-year increase in revenue during the period. This was driven largely by higher inflows into the Federation accounts, which surged by 54.5% year-on-year to 20.214 trillion naira in 10 months of 2024, up from 13.079 trillion naira recorded same period in 2023. The Chief Executive Officer of MTN Nigeria, Mr. Counter-terrorism, says 2024 was a tough year for the telecoms industry amid high inflation and naira value depreciation against the dollar. According to Mr. Toriola, 160% of revenue generated by telcos are used to run operations, which he stresses is not sustainable.
MTN, we believe that we need a tariff adjustment of about 100%. I think the industry is pretty much aligned because we're all experiencing exactly the same headwinds. Now, the government is very sensitive to the squeezed consumer wallet, the pressures that has come from inflation and currency devaluation on consumers. So I'm not sure they will give us the 100%. But I'm optimistic they will give us something substantial, and maybe progressively over the course of the year we can have smaller adjustments that will help us to get back to the place where we need to be. But what is expected of us by the regulator on the flip side is quality of service. We're going to be held to very high standards of quality of service. And what the tariff adjustments allows us to do is to continue to reinvest, because we need to build capacity, build resilience, put in additional generators, put in alternative power supply systems to give you stable and high quality networks. So it addresses sustainability, but also enables the regulator to hold the big stick on the issue of quality of service, and allows us consequently to, of course, invest to give the quality of service that Nigerians deserve.
The FMDQ Securities Exchange says it has resumed admission services into the Nigerian commercial paper market after an earlier suspension on December the 30th, 2024. This follows the release of new rules on the issuance of financial instruments by the Securities and Exchange Commission. The recent suspension applied to applications for which the filing of all relevant documentation has been completed, applications for which the filing of all relevant documentation is yet to be completed, as well as prospective and ongoing offers under active CP programs. The exchange also announced that it has returned to the status quo prior to the release of MN50, following engagements with the SEC. About 402.73 billion naira is gained within 5 at the Nigerian exchange as the market sustains its positive momentum with the all-share index back into the 103,000 level. Willie Bong tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Markets Report. The second trading day in January and the NGX ends the week in the green. The all-share index is higher today by 0.39%, moving the index up further up 103,000 points. We're seeing it nearing 104 now, and the market cap at 63 trillion naira. Let's check in with the movers. We had great contributions from the insurance stocks, but Dangote Sugar from the consumer goods index, which you see is 0.52% up, gained today, and we saw that major role we played in boosting this index up. Although we saw a turner up today, but that was not enough to propel price movements, positive movements for the oil and gas index. And we're seeing the banking stocks leading today with a 1.08% gain. Let's zoom in on the big five and see how they perform. We see FBN, unfortunately, in the red, 0.89%. UBA up 2.05%. GTCO Unchained, Access Holdings 1.66%, and we see Zenith also over 1%. First two trading days in January, as I said, and we can probably predict for stocks in 2025. And those are the highlights for today. Will Ibong signing out.
Let's check out the closing numbers of major global stock markets for Friday's trading session. And that's it on Business News. Back to Anne for the rest of the news at 10.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Dominic. Trump-backed Mike Johnson has been re-elected as U.S. House Speaker. Mr. Johnson, who took his oath of office moments ago, says that his 119th Congress will continue to champion the idea of America First, a slogan promoted by Donald Trump. Here's Simon Puse with more international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. South Korea's month-long political crisis has seen another day of high drama, with police failing to arrest suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol after a 6-hour standoff. An army of police were blocked by Yoon's soldiers protecting the compound. Authorities had sought to arrest Mr. Yoon over his short-lived martial law declaration in early December. Parliament had also voted to impeach the man who succeeded him as acting president. His face is now also in the hands of the country's constitutional court, which can remove him from office by upholding the impeachment vote.
You can see some of those support beams going across the right side of the hole.
2 people have died and 18 others have been injured after a small plane crashed into a commercial building in Southern California. 10 people were taken to hospital with injuries. 8 others were treated for injuries and released at the scene. The single-engine Vans VR-10 crashed at 2:15 local time. It is unclear whether the 2 people who died were workers or were on board the plane.
لا يوجد إمكانيات لدينا بإطفاء طبعا النيران ولا توجد أصلا أدوات.
Israel has confirmed it is holding the Gaza hospital director, Dr. Hussam Abu Safire, after earlier telling a local NGO that it was unaware of his case, sparking concern for his well-being. The Israeli Defense Forces statement said he was currently being investigated by Israeli security forces in person. Dr. Abu Safire was arrested as the Israeli military forced patients and medical staff to leave Kamal Adwan Hospital in northern Gaza last Friday.
que con miedo no se va a la guerra. Por eso es que yo estoy convencido.
Venezuela's government has offered a $100,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the opposition's exiled presidential candidate, Edmundo Gonzalez. He fled the country in September and was granted political asylum in Spain after Venezuela's authorities ordered his arrest, accusing Gonzalez of conspiracy and forging documents. Gonzalez had vowed to return to Venezuela before President Nicolás Maduro's inauguration next Friday, accusing the government of rigging the vote. US President Joe Biden has formally blocked the takeover of US steel by a bigger Japanese company, saying foreign ownership could pose risks for national security. The controversial decision comes a year after Nippon Steel first announced the $14.9 billion deal, describing it as a lifeline for its smaller Pennsylvania-based rival. But the transaction soon ran into political trouble after leaders of the United Steelworkers Union loudly opposed the deal. Apple has agreed to pay $95 million to settle a court case alleging some of its devices were listening to people without their permission. The tech giant was accused of eavesdropping on its customers through its virtual assistant Siri. The claimants also allege voice recordings were shared with advertisers.
皆さんとこうして新年を一緒に祝うことを
Japan's Emperor Naruhito has given a New Year's address in front of the public to wish the people of the country and the whole world a peaceful year. I pray for the happiness of the people of our country and the whole world, Naruhito told the crowd at the Imperial Palace in Tokyo. The 64-year-old was joined by other imperial family members. Last year, the emperor's public greeting was cancelled following a massive earthquake in northern Japan on New Year's Day. And hundreds of revelers gathered at Barcelona beach to take part in the traditional first bath of the year in the Mediterranean Sea. Enjoying the sun, participants run from the beach to the water, which had a temperature of only 13 degrees Celsius. Many participants wore Christmas hats and glasses to celebrate the start of 2025.
I'm actually feeling warm. It's actually not that cold. Starting the year in the ocean, which is nice.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. Super Eagles forward Sadiq Umar has sealed a loan move to Spanish side Valencia from Real Sociedad after completing his medicals earlier today. There is no buy option included in the loan deal as Umar remains in the plans of Sociedad for the future. The Super Eagles forward joined Real Sociedad from Almeria in 2022 for €20 million. However, the move has been largely underwhelming, with the Nigerian scoring just 4 goals and 2 assists in his 50 matches for Sociedad. Staying in Spain, Barcelona coach Hansi Flick has expressed frustration over the club's struggle to acquire new players' licenses for Dani Olmo and Paul Victor, but he remains optimistic ahead of their Copa del Rey match against Barbaros, praising the duo's attitude. Barcelona applied to the Spanish FA for the licenses on Tuesday after they lost a second appeal to register the players for the remainder of the season on Monday, with the club unable to meet La Liga's wage cap.
About this situation, and I think also the players are not happy about the situation, but it is like it is, and we have to accept it, and we are professional, and we have to play football. I have to coach, my coaching staff has to coach, so and the club has to make his job. I spoke with Dani, I spoke with Paui, and the situation for them, it's of course you can imagine that it's not easy, but they are positive, you know, they want to play for this club.
Let's turn attention now to tennis, where legendary player Novak Djokovic's hunt for a landmark 100th ATP title has ended with a whimper following an unexpected 7-6 and 6-3 defeat by big serving American Real Opelka in the Brisbane International quarterfinals earlier today. Djokovic saved 3 break points in stifling conditions to go 5-4 up, but he lost the opening set in a tough tie-break as Opelka cranked up his serve and seized early control of his maiden tour meeting against the 37-year-old. Up next for Opelka is Giovanni Impecci, a Pericard in what promises to be an explosive battle. Let's stay with tennis. The Czech Republic has ended Italy's quest to claim a 3rd straight team competition trophy, thumping them 2-0 to reach the semi-finals of the United Cup and book a meeting with former champions, the United States. The Italians finished a superb 2024 season by sweeping the men's Davis Cup and the women's Billie Jean King Cup titles, but they ran out of steam in the $10 million mixed team event ahead of this month's Australian Open.
Team Czechia. 2 sets to love, 6-1, 6-2.
And that's your sports news tonight. I am Kelly Egiga. It's back to Anne.
Thank you, Kelly. And the main news again. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has restated the commitment of the Nigerian Armed Forces to securing the nation by getting rid of criminal elements causing security breaches. The CDA was speaking during a visit to the troops in southern Kaduna. We also told you that the troops of the Multinational Joint Task Force had intercepted a suspected terrorist courier conveying improvised explosive device-making materials in Gubio local government area of Borno State. Also today, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, vowed a decisive response to attacks on officers and men of the police. The IGP was speaking in Enugu State when he met with officers of the state command. And South Korea's month-long political crisis today recorded another high drama, with police failing to arrest suspended President Yoon Suk-yeol after a 6-hour standoff. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. Have a wonderful weekend. Good night.